The 4 people that will go on in no particular order for the individual challenge are Jude and John, Carissa, Jenna, and Hallie. The rest of you will get a group challenge. That doesn't mean it's going to be any less of a challenge. Previously on shift, our 7 contestants, including a couple, were divided into 2 groups. One is actually a group, and the other are individual challenges to help them shift. The group challenge is for them to illustrate how do they show up in the 5 levels of consciousness, and how can the gut intelligence blueprint help them shift. But first, we have an elimination to deal with. So you've probably noticed that Peggy's not here.
Yes. Where is she?
We worried.
Well, she's no longer going to be on the show. She wanted to be with Peter. I wasn't surprised. It was a lot that she had been going through. So we honor her decision. What we're here for today is to look at the 5 levels of consciousness and the gut intelligence blueprint. I'm excited to see your illustrations today and see how you show up in these different levels of consciousness, because the more we can see how we show up in these levels, the more we can become the observer of that. All right, let's start with your illustrations and let's see how you show up in the 5 levels of consciousness.
Wow, that is awesome.
Now, Yola is an artist, and you can see what a beautiful artist
talented.
she is. Isn't she talented? So tell us how this is your level 1 unconscious.
When I was doing this painting, I concentrate mostly on the level 2 of my consciousness because I didn't feel related to the level 1. I thought that I am aware of my emotions, negative emotions, and completely level 1 maybe I have when I was a child. But after our conversations, it came to me that it's possible that I have one emotion which my body shut down, and I am not aware of that I have this, and the emotion can be covered by anger, by self-doubt, but the emotion is a shame.
Which is really level 2 consciousness, because level 2 is fear, self-doubt, and judgment. Self-judgment is shame.
And that comes a lot. For me, shame, a lot is from other people's judgments that were put on me, I think, or something.
Exactly. And that's why I see this as level 1 and level 2, because look at this. They want you to be what they want you to be. But when we're at level 3 consciousness and we're self-aware, oh, is that interesting? You want me to grab your strings. You want me to be the way you think I ought to be.
So does that mean like you start to believe what they say? Kind of.
And maybe not even consciously, maybe unconsciously, because your need is for safety and security. Your need is for love and belonging. So you automatically even grab those strings without consciously realizing it. And that's why level 1 is unconscious.
So when I think of unconscious, is disconnected, right? Like you're disconnected from your true intuitive self.
Yeah, you don't go within. And that's why in the gut intelligence blueprint, it says to meditate 20 minutes a day. So you create a neural pathway to your intuition. You're not going to be so apt to just automatically grab those strings. And it all depends how you are feeling about your own safety, security, and your own love and belonging. Because if you think it's out there, it's here, and it's not in here, you're going to give your power away and grab those strings.
Basically, I would say level 1 for me, I think it's normally fight, flight, freeze, or shut down. So I think for me, I shut down, and I sort of check out in a way.
Remember when we first met and I said to you, I feel this resistance in you and I can't put my finger on what it is. And I said, but let's just think about it. I think it's for you when you are afraid and you're in level 1 consciousness and you don't want to feel afraid or controlled or self-doubt or judgment, and you block it like that automatically. I could feel that right away. But that's you going into reaction, right? Fight, flight, freeze, and not really getting intuitively aligned, but resisting whatever it is you're afraid of.
Sort of guarding, blocking,
Guarding, yeah.
protecting.
And what great self-awareness. Just like you seeing how you will grab those strings, you seeing I will resist. That's self-awareness. You're already getting to level 3, just noticing that. I'm headed toward the beach to meet Carissa for our next challenge. You remember her, the tall, proud soldier who was taught to turn off her shift switch, that gut alert inside that it would otherwise have told her to stop. She was taught to silence that, and now we're gonna turn that switch back on. Hi, Carissa.
Oh, hi, Susan.
Thanks for meeting me down here at the beach.
Absolutely. Thanks for meeting me.
I appreciate you doing this challenge
Absolutely.
and sharing your story.
I've always felt like anger was this emotion you weren't allowed to have, okay? And so because of that, I became a people pleaser. I wanted to feel safe and secure and loved, and I wanted people to like me. I grew up in this typical strict Catholic home where you had that, my mom was really submissive, my dad was more dominant. And in a home like that, you don't really get to express your emotions or even have your intuition. It's follow the rules and behave.
So that's what caused you at one time to be unconscious.
Right.
I call it the shift switch. You just turned it off.
Right.
So you weren't paying attention to the gut alert. You were unconscious, following the rules, suppressing it all.
Well,
and
of course.
silencing.
Your whole life you're being told, don't make a mountain out of a molehill. It's all in your head. Don't be so dramatic. Follow the rules or else.
So when you were in level 2 consciousness, that fear, that self-doubt, that judgment, let's talk about that time in your life where you weren't self-aware of that shift switch. Tell me what went on.
Sure. So I got married young, and he was really controlling. And I feel like he used his anger against me to minimize me even more and make me doubt myself. I eventually left him, but then soon after I joined the Army. And that's where things took a turn for the worse. I was attacked, and my gut told me something was wrong, but follow the rules, you behave,
Turn it off.
you turn it off.
Shift switch, just turn that off. That's what you were taught. Automatic reaction.
Absolutely. And so I ended up being raped by my recruiter in between signing the paperwork and raising my right hand. So imagine you want to serve your country, and day one, you're being sworn in and your rapist is literally standing behind you, staring you down, threatening you to make sure you don't tell a soul.
And let's talk about that for a moment. So that Velcro to your imprint,
Yeah.
and your imprint was to what?
To shut up, do what you're told.
Put up. Shut up and put up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you were threatened
Threatened, absolutely.
with fear. What kind of threats for fear and self-doubt and judgment did he put in your mind that he Velcroed to that imprint?
He told me that if I told anybody, he'd make my life a living hell, that this is the military, you better get used to it. And I didn't tell anybody. I was so scared. A couple years go by, and my 5-year-old daughter, Ashley, was murdered by her father. And that happened 2 weeks before 9/11. And he went through the trial, he was sentenced and convicted, but there was this small piece of me as a mom who blamed myself. I trusted this man with our daughter, and I didn't follow my gut to tell me that there was something wrong.
We're here at Fred Astaire's Dance Studios in Pewaukee, Wisconsin with Jude and John. and they're here to learn a new dance pattern to help them shift from the tango to the smooth waltz. Because see, they've got this intensity pattern going on that's leading to come close, go away, I feel smothered. Now they're gonna learn how to stay connected in the gut and create a conscious relationship that will last. Hi, Sasha, John, and Jude.
Hello, guys.
Hi.
This is Dinah.
Hi there, Dinah. Pleasure to meet you, Jude.
Dinah has been through the SHIFT program, and her story reminds me a lot of your story. So could you tell her a little bit about your relationship? I'd rather have it come from you.
You can't see it, but tattooed on my brain is an imprint. It's called, if it's going to be, it's up to me. That came when my dad died when I was 15 years old, and I assumed the mantle of all the responsibilities for the family, including my mom, my sisters. So I've carried that forward. And then when Jude and I got married, I had two major events in my life. First of all, I had bankrupted in a previous marriage, so I had this incredible provider instinct. I have to provide. It's up to me. And the second was an addict daughter who I moved to Wisconsin in an attempt to save her because, as my saying to myself was, she's not going to die under my watch. And both of those took all of my focus, all of my energy, and I left Jude behind emotionally.
I can understand why you would have this mentality of having to provide and provide and provide and be that one that everybody looks up to. I feel for you.
And this is a part I think you're really going to empathize with, is that Jude had an imprint that it Velcroed to, because this often happens where unconsciously we pick partners, where we Velcro our imprints together.
In the relationship I had felt last, I felt so unwanted by my new husband. I felt lonely in my own home because he was gone or working. And, you know, his daughter was there and he was there sometimes. With this shift, once I realized just how much it taps into my childhood wounds, because as a girl, the love and the value was saved for the boys. My mother didn't show me love. So when I was not feeling the love, I felt unloved. It tapped right into that imprint.
And I found out also that it was an abandonment issue with my dad, who he left my mom and us, and made me feel like I wasn't good enough, and that carried into this relationship.
So what we're here to do today is show you some new dance steps. We're going to first show you the pattern that you're in, which is this come close, this seduction of this rumba. And then all of a sudden it gets too close and it triggers this abandonment wound in you. So you're going to abandon her before she abandons you. After you've chased her in this tango and she's like all wrapping herself around you, her leg and her life, and ooh la la. And then whoop, there he goes. But we're going to not end there. We're going to show you a new dance pattern that's going to create less intensity and more emotional intimacy. Are you ready to learn?
Totally.
Tell me if this seems familiar. First, he seduces you with this rumba. Woo! Ooh la la, it feels so good to get this attention. And look he's checking you out. Wow, and now he's moving towards you. You think you found your partner in life. Oh, it feels so good. So much that you are gonna wrap your leg and your life around him. Oh, but then what happened? He just went away and it's gone, just like that. Remember Jenna, third generation business owner, ready to step into her own legacy, but the only thing getting in her own way is her unconscious imprint of people pleasing, causing her to look outside of herself for validation instead of trusting her gut. Today we're going to end all that. In fact, she's going to begin with a business builder program and tell them what's in it for them, because when it resonates with their gut, they're bought in. So let's go on inside and let's get this shift and meeting started. Hey, Jenna.
Hi, Susan.
Can I give you a hug?
Yeah, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Are you ready to get this shift started?
Yes, I'm excited to shift and be clear, calm, and confident and step out of my shoes as the secretary and into the shoes as the boss.
I love that. It's been, what, a year and a half now?
Yep.
You're ready.
I am
And I
ready.
noticed you got a chair. Get your cheetah on, girl.
I do, yes.
See? You're ready for it.
I am ready to channel that cheetah energy.
I love it. All right, well, let's go. They're in the
Yep.
back waiting for us?
Yep, we're going to have our employee meeting.
Okay, let's do it.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for staying after work for a bit here for this meeting. First, I'd like to introduce you to my shift business coach, Susan Werley.
Hi there.
Hi, Susan.
And she helped me create the SWOT analysis, which stands for strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats that I handed out earlier this year. And with some of that feedback, I was able to create a business development plan that I'm going to go over with you guys. Now, this isn't just about growing the business for myself, it's about growing it for all of us, so we all have a future here together. So I will also give you a handout of this after our meeting. So as you can see, there are 4 clear steps to the business development plan. Our first step is the Google reviews and surveys. Now, we want to become the go-to window cleaner when people do their search. How do we do that? It's all about Google rankings and search engine optimization. I know, that was a bit over my head as well at first. But if Google says we're good, we're good. And when we get more and better reviews, they reward us with higher rankings on Google search. So here's what we're going to do. I made these cards that you guys are going to take to the businesses. Upon completion of the job, you'll give the card out and they will be in this little brown envelope, and I've left enough room so you guys can handwrite the customer name on it. So if you open up the card, you'll see there's a handwritten note for myself, and then it says, "We'd love your feedback." There's a Google review QR code. It takes them straight to leave a review on our page. And then there's also a short survey they can return to us. Easy enough, right? Bottom line, more money for the business, more money for you guys. Yeah. And I'd like to hear if you're excited for these changes, what you think, if you have any questions, comments, concerns. Well, it seems like you guys might need a few minutes to think about this. But don't worry, girls gotta hydrate.
Next up in our shift challenge is Hallie. She's here to learn how to shift out of her imprint that kept her too small. Remember her at the tower when Carissa was the one that was gonna climb, and all of a sudden everybody busted her when they found out she'd been a climber. Why didn't she take the challenge? Because her mind was chattering, telling her not to be too big and that somebody could do it better. Well, she saw herself in that moment and got to self-awareness, level 3 consciousness. But she's here today to learn how to shift out of that and regulate her own nervous system so she can get out there and do her mission in a big way.
I totally remember that like aha moment at the tower where it just happened so quickly in my mind, the skipping over like, oh, I could do this. But then when it like struck me, I was like, oh my gosh, I want everybody else to go ahead of me. Or I think somebody else is an expert, not me.
I love the way you just said that, because the way I would translate that is you didn't come into your gut alert where that imprint is and you get alerted. And you didn't stay with yourself. You just went over it quickly. And what we want to do is we want to help you to recognize that imprint that says, I can't be too big. Mm-hmm. Somebody else is bigger than me because I can't be that big.
Right.
So the way you get there to recognize that gut alert is by meditating 20 minutes a day. That's the brain science. That's not a Susan Werley recommendation. Because what happens is when you meditate 20 minutes a day, you create a neural pathway that gets past that reaction center. That's what you're talking about. You got a gut alert, you reacted, You froze, you let somebody else go. This neural pathway is going to take you to the pretal lobe where intuition lies. And you're instead going to breathe into that and pause and say, is this something I feel I should be doing? So it's really important is to make sure that your messaging is really clear. Your why and your how. Change the nervous system to, increase education. And then the rest of it is just supporting evidence. So why don't we, before we get Phil on our Zoom call, why don't we turn to the shift app? Let's just step into your goal right now. And what we're talking about today is vocational. Okay. So let's hit vocational. So your goal for this is to create a brand, right? So let's put to create a brand.
Or
right?
to bring regulation.
Whether it's for us or kids. What that means is we're taking them out of the sympathetic nervous system. That's what causes the chattering mind.
Totally.
Beta brainwave, busy, busy, busy.
Yes.
You know that when we go into the parasympathetic nervous system, what happens is we are all connected. The gut, the heart, the brain, the mind, the intuition, and we're in the clear, calm, confident part of who we are. So we're able to know what to do. We're able to absorb information better. So let's get Phil.
Okay.
Let's get him on Zoom. Phil is, as I said to you, a filmmaker, but he's also a media expert. So what's really important is to make sure that when you're doing these videos or you're getting the word out there, that you're really encapsulating the brand that you want to create. Hi, Phil. Phil, you're fabulous. Can you share with Hallie some of the people that are your clients? I don't want to name drop your clients. I don't know what you can and cannot say.
Name drop?
Yeah, so are you able to do that?
Sure, yeah. So, at this point, I've been in the business, and I'll just term it entertainment overall, for the past 20 years and gotten to work with currently Gwyneth Paltrow. I get to work with her on her Goop podcast. Maria Menounos, I've worked with her on her digital properties. I've worked with brands like Girl Boss, Grammys, Wheelhouse, which in our sector is well known, might not be as readily available to everyone else, but like Jimmy Kimmel was involved for a while there. So yeah.
So you're kind of a big deal. So my brand that I'm visualizing and wanting to do is really centered around bringing regulation into education, meaning like our schools. So we'll hear a lot about nervous system regulation from experts, or even when I was a teacher, I would get quote unquote trauma-informed care training, but it never translates into the system of education. And so it's about how do we help teachers and students and our environments be regulated so that people thrive within the education system. And I'm looking to package it up and brand it for people to get as excited about it as I am, but then also so that people can see it and understand it than just some theory that I have.
And again, I want to say specifically nervous system regulation.
Who's overall the target audience or the primary audience? So is it teachers specifically? Is it school administrators? Is it students that could then bring it to teachers and their school administrators? So I just want to kind of get clarity on that, and that'll help dictate of any further notes I might have.
I would say my first target audience is teachers, and then second to that is parents.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. They're going to need to hear it a few times, right? So, spacing out into a series and in different iterations. Okay, wait, you know what? There's something here. I should do something about this.
Yeah.
With AI now and how easy it is to build characters, do you think it would be in her best interest to create some AI characters and reuse those all the time so that people are associating more so those characters with her teaching her message as part of the branding?
So whether it's going the AI route or handmade feel, something that you own outright, then yeah, I would agree with that from a branding standpoint for sure.
My reaction to the name drops that Phil was giving was like, Oh my gosh. Like wild.
I'm not too much.
I'm perfect in my imperfection.
You know, like it just screams of corporate speak, if I'm being honest.
Okay, good to know.